won in The Last Dance was all built on initially being cut from his high school team. He also said MJ had the mentality that there was no other option or plan B, and winning was the only option. Ray also said some can view MJ's leadership as harsh, but you can't deny the results. So, Shannon, how does Ray compare to MJ as a leader?
Different, very different. The thing, I had a lot of conversations with Ray when I got to Baltimore in 2000. Ray was, trying to find his way. Obviously, we know what transpired in that Super Bowl in February of that season in Atlanta. And I remember having a conversation with him, and he was telling me all those things that he wanted to accomplish. I said, well, Ray, the simple thing is you can never ask a man more than you're willing to give. I said, now, if you ask a man to be in shape, you need to be in shape. If you ask a man to hit the weight room, they need to see you in the weight room. You say you want a man to do film study, they need to see you doing film study. And I think that, and he says, okay. And then he started having success. But Ray understood that the one thing that a man must have at all times is respect. And was Ray tough? I think when I can only speak to what it was for the 2 years that I was there. And 1 year, my first year there, he won Defensive Player of the Year. And I think a couple of years later, he won it again. But Ray Ray had a problem if he thought a guy was partying or wasn't paying attention to meetings, and then you get on the field and you blow the assignment, and you end up costing us a chunk play, or you end up that play hurting us in a ball game. But Ray was very respectful because he understood guys will probably follow you more if they respect you. And look, what you gonna do? You're gonna fight defensive linemen, you're gonna fight cornerbacks if they don't want to hear. At the end of the day, Skip, like you said, the guy got to be very self-motivated. And I think the guys were very self-motivated that Mike, the button that he was pushing. But I just think that Mike went overboard where I never saw Ray go overboard in the 2 years that I was there. Okay. And he said something very, very, very interesting. He said, the leadership style, but it got the results. Again, the ends justify the means. He said, but I don't condone disrespecting a man in any way. And Skip, when you really get back to it, that's all you and I have been disagreeing. We really disagree. That's the only thing that you and I have probably butted heads on was the disrespect that I think Michael showed in some of these cases. But Ray, other than that, Ray was tough. Ray was demanding because he held himself to a high standard. And the thing that I told Ray this, I said, Ray, them guys not you. God blessed you with the ability to run and to be sudden and to thump and to be able to process information at a very high rate of speed. Those guys ain't you, Ray. So you can't ask them to be you. He's like, but Shay, I'm like, Ray, you're going to have to be patient and understand everybody is not Ray Lewis. They're not 11 Ray Lewis. There's only one Ray Lewis over there. And you got to get them the best out of them, which is not you, but get the best out of them.
Okay. Allow me to say, Ray Lewis, one of the greatest leaders in the history of sports. Shannon Sharp.
Absolutely.
One of the greatest leaders in the history of sports. Together, you guys formed the heart and soul of that locker room of that 2000 Ravens team. And obviously, the defense was much better than the offense. But you made a play here or there that was crucial to giving you just enough points to win the football game because the other team was not going to score many, if any, points. So it worked. And yet, I agree. I loved Ray's comments. They're very insightful about Jordan. And yet, I'm with you. Ray was different. Allow me to say, you brought this up. When you first got to Baltimore, Ray Lewis had faced, I don't want to make too much and get too controversial here, but he had faced a murder charge. He was not convicted, but I still believe that it gave him some edge that on the football field, there was fear factor that he could impose on the opponents and to a certain extent on his own defensive teammates. Like, this is a bad man here. And they respected him in part because they feared him, but he did not cross the line the way you say Jordan crossed the line to ridicule or shame his teammates, I think to motivate in Jordan's case, by calling them names, words that you say are over the edge. You can't, it's a bridge burner. It's a fight starter for you to be called the B word or the garden tool word, as Michael used those words to motivate Scotty Burrell. And Ray got it because he said sometimes you can look at it as a dictator being really harsh. Okay. And he said, I don't condone, as you just read, disrespecting any man in any way. But they did get, Ray acknowledged, they got results. Okay, they got results. So Ray concluded, you have to find a way to push their buttons and hopefully do it in a way where they don't say, I hated him. Well, I don't think they hated Michael Jordan. I don't. I don't know exactly what's in a man's heart, but I was there. And he did need them, and he was trying to strengthen their weaknesses to bring them up as close to his level for playoff basketball as he could get them. And it did work. But Ray did it a different way. I think like the DBs, I think they were just scared of Ray, and so they locked in and focused and locked down because they didn't want to disappoint Ray. And Rich Eisen brought up the fact that a lot of them, if they made a mistake, they couldn't even look Ray in the eye because they were looking at like fear of God here because he was their defensive God, and they did not want to disappoint Ray Lewis. Again, you didn't get that because you were on offense and you were his best friend. So but I do think Ray commanded a fear factor that Jordan, that's the one thing where they were very similar.
Yeah, and the thing that I share with Ray, I say, Ray, you have to be careful that every time somebody makes a mistake that you point it out. I say, because then what you start doing is you start getting people watching film to see if you made a mistake. I say, don't point out everything, things that are egregious, things things that you like, okay, we went over this, we could do this. I say, you never want guys to start watching film, not for what they run on the offense, but to see if Ray made a mistake. I say, you don't want people trying to critique you. I said, you're the de facto leader. You're the best player on the best defense. You got defensive player of the year. You got the cachet. I say, but that's part of being a leader, Skip. You have to know what buttons. Some guys you make jokes with. I agree. Some guys you put your arm around. And some guys, but you can't motivate one way all the time. And I thought Ray did a great job of striking a great balance. Now, Skip, I'm sure some people got tired of Ray calling it up, giving team meetings and saying all that other. I'm sure some people get tired of that. But at the end of the day, he was Ray. He had been there. He was the original Raven. He and J.O. had long gone. So you just got to bury it. It's kind of like Jordan. Jordan was the original Bull, Skip. He was the original Bull. He'd been there since '84. So all the other guys from the Orlando Woodridge and the George Gervins and the Brad Sellers, Skip, they were gone. So it had to be his way. But the only thing, Skip, look, I got no problems. Look, I want to win as bad as anybody. But I just think, hey, just keep it respectful, and I'm going to go do my part. That's the only part that I have a problem with. I got no problem with Jordan because, hell, I thought it would have been great. But like you said, he and I probably wouldn't have had a problem because he would have saw how hard I'm working. He's like, I don't need to worry. I don't need to worry about him. He got his.
No. I would agree. And if you had Ray and Michael on the same team, I don't know, you'd have two of the biggest alpha males in the history of sports. I don't know if that would have worked either.
You definitely can't call him. Some of the words he was calling Scotty Burrell, Ray would have thumped him.
No. Wouldn't have gone for it? I can only imagine. Guys, did the Seahawks just take a shot at the Cowboys? Skip, I don't know how you're going to feel about this one.